What is going on, all you lovely people out there? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Mike O'Hora, and this is a lovely penguin. And today we are breaking down the sets of How You Like That by Blackpink. It is a absolutely gorgeous music video. So we're going to break it down. There's a lot of set pieces that are happening on this one, so I'm very, very excited. We just watched the video. We did a reaction, so if you haven't seen that one, go ahead and watch that because is fun. And then also go ahead and subscribe to the channel because we'd love to have you guys back here. And then also, if you give me a like or whatever, who knows, send it to a friend. I don't care, whatever you want to do. Hopefully you guys will learn something from this because it is definitely worth the while. So let's dive right in. All right, so immediately they open up on this shot of this awesome temple scene. A simple enough build to start where we have a staircase going up to a nice platform. They got some torches. They got fire around as well. And what do we say about fire, ladies and gentlemen? There needs to be a fire marshal on set. If you're having that, again, I don't remember, or actually, no, I never found out still if they actually need a fire marshal on the sets of Korean music videos and stuff, but I know in the US, if you're going to have that kind of stuff, you need it. But they build up these awesome pillars. Easy enough little builds to do. You're just basically making a bunch of different flats, putting them together, make it the cylinder, going on up. I would also not even be surprised if there's no backs to the back sides of these, if these are literally the three faces of it. You got the one side, the edge-ish, like flat edge, and then the front side as well. But yeah, for the most part, relatively simple, although really built big. It's a really, really big space that they're working in. But obviously the big focal point right here is this big angel thing that they have going on here. It's an angel that's just the torso, which is interesting. I think we got a closer shot of it a little bit later. Yeah, so this is the bottom half of it. Let me see if there's a little bit better. Okay, so this is like a relatively good view of it. It's probably the closest we actually get to see. For the most part, I would guess that the torso piece was rented from somewhere. I'd be willing to guess. However, I will say the more I've been watching a lot of these different Korean K-pop bands and stuff, they go above and beyond for their music videos where they're getting all sorts of things built. They're doing everything from scratch. So I also wouldn't be fully surprised if they had this commissioned, like somebody went out and built it and made it look like that. But I would say for the most part, I would guess that's probably some sort of a plastic replica of a stone piece that you can hang up, and it would be relatively lightweight as well. For the back panels, for the wings, I don't actually know what they used. It looks like they're using some sort of like a purple plastic, perhaps, that they cut out into these nice shapes, almost like sword shapes, if you would. Similar to swords, definitely not the same as a sword, but you know, that general shape where it's nice and long and then it has like, it comes to a point. Even though they're not sharp points, but they're points. And then they also dangled off some crystals from them as well, just to kind of really accentuate when the light comes through. And you get to see how purple this whole thing really is. But, I mean, this is such a cool piece. It's definitely not going to be something that's easy to put together. It probably took quite a bit of time to do. They most likely have the left wing and then the right wing. They built it separately and then they put it up as well. The hardest part about it is the fact that they made it all symmetrical. So if you notice, for the most part, it's like you got two short ones, one longer, then a short, and then it's really short. And it's like they literally are the exact same thing all the way through. It's easiest to tell with these four ones that stick out. You got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, kind of easy to tell from that. But yeah, the symmetry of these are just great. Whoever did this, like these music videos have just been a showcase of great art, of great art, and this is definitely one of them. So this room, more or less a relatively simple room. I wouldn't be surprised if they just reused one of the other sets of walls from one of the other rooms that are in the music video. But for the most part, she's just sitting with like a big cushion, and then there's a lot of fabric coming off her shoulder there that's kind of covering up a lot of it as well. And then you just blue light it, but then I'll have a white light shining down on her face just to really accentuate her face while she's singing, and then everything has that blue tone to it as well. But for the most part, relatively simple little shot here, but still it's super aesthetically pleasing, and it allows the perfect focus on her face that we get to see her. She looks great, and then yeah, it's not anything that's distracting. You know what I'm saying? It's a good thing. Now this wall is so neat. I love this so much. And I'll tell you guys this. It's something that I always come back to when I'm looking at stuff like this. But I'm pretty sure this is a hard foam again. That you just rip chunks out of it to make it look like broken up concrete. And then on top of it in the back, I will say, I kind of wonder... how they did that. And my guess would be is that they had that foam all together, right? And then they probably laid it across something. And if I was doing this, we would take something heavy, like maybe even just a sandbag or something like that, or maybe something a little bit bigger. Maybe one of us would just jump onto it, but we would fall onto the thing so that it breaks into a bunch of pieces. And then you take those pieces and you put them back together, and then you fill you fill the cracks with paint, or you can even get some like spray on foam, which it looks like they painted red, and it will kind of fill those cracks and kind of puff out a little bit as well. It's like a spray foam as well, and it totally accentuates the cracks, makes it look really, really cool. Makes it look like the Hulk just like punched somebody right through the two walls that she's sitting on, as well as the next wall into the fourth wall as well. Definitely really, really cool. They have all the paint and stuff that they did. You can kind of see on the walls here that they kind of painted on cracks for this part, as well as adding in the different roses. And yeah, I think that's, oh man, it's such a cool shot. However, I will say too, because hard foam's not really great for sitting on. So I do wonder if perhaps they did some like wood piece here or something that she could sit on that would just get covered by her clothes and her body, so that she's not breaking through the foam. That would be most likely what we would do, and then she could just rest her feet on there regular, just onto the foam. I'm sure she probably had a little bit of red on her feet when she was done with this as well. But still, this shot in particular is probably my favorite one from this whole music video. I think this one is so well done. It's very cool, and I just love it. I love it so much. This one is also really, really cool. This is so dang cool. Also, we saw in the last video how they had her sitting on this rig that allows her to spin upside down. She's strapped to her chair, and it spins with the camera so that the whole room looks like it's twisting as well, which is super, super cool. However, this room is pretty dark, so it's kind of hard to tell exactly what's going on in the room. But, I mean, obviously, if you look to the left side of the screen here, you can see that you got all this red kind of poking through. Whatever they're using here, it's definitely thin. And then they have a big light coming through. I'd imagine it's some sort of red fabric or something like that, so that it would glow red as the light starts to come through. But for the most part, it looks like it is a lot of different kind of dead plants, which you can rent all of that kind of stuff from different prop houses and stuff. And then you also have like all the vines and such over here as well. Kind of annoying to string up, to be honest. More of a hindrance thing. It's not very difficult to do. It just can be quite tedious, and then also things tangle up really easily. So if you want it to look really good, you have to kind of separate out all of them from each other so that you can put them up kind of like almost individually, or even just in small bundles or whatever, just so that it'll look a little less like a big ball of weeds, you know? So it actually kind of spreads nicely. So obviously there's a hole there. You can see through it. Yeah, and then the rest of the stuff, it's just it's kind of dark. It's kind of hard to see. Actually, real quick, let's just take a look at the behind the scenes real quick. Yeah, so looking at it from this angle, we're now looking at the making of video. Yeah, it looks more like they used some more spray foam and then painted it black just to kind of add in. You can kind of see behind her it looks more like a rock formation, but you can tell it's spray foam by the way that it kind of like bulges out and it looks kind of like almost mushroomy in a way. That's probably not the best way to describe it. I can't think of the right way, but it kind of like from a spot kind of expands outwards and kind of balloons out a little bit. And then yeah, you just paint it. Easy enough. It's not always a fun process, but it definitely works. This is another really cool one. For the most part, this would be a really, really easy build to build. It's just gonna be a nice big, like thick piece of wood, probably like an inch bit of plywood or something. Just something that's not gonna bend and warp as well as weight is added onto it. And then simply they just are lowering it down with her on it, and then they just kind of wrapped her up in flowers. And then for the rest of it, it's all just extra plants and stuff. You can tell that these are most likely rented in plants as well. Not most likely, they're definitely rented in. And then yeah, you just kind of fill up the background and make it look a little bit more planty. I think there's a better shot of this later on when we will see. Now this one, it's another really, really cool set. You can actually tell they're actually on some sort of a rug right there. You can kind of see the lip of it right here, which is funny. You don't notice it when the music video is happening, obviously, but for the most part, all these are rented in plants and stuff, same as the ivy that's creeping up there. It's a little hard to tell what's going on in the back here, but they built a little bit of a structure where they placed a bunch of lights on it, and then they just kind of draped some plants over it as well, just to add in that little feature. It kind of looks like a vent or like a window, perhaps, of light coming through, and then you also get the sun coming over the top, which is just another light. But yeah, I mean, look at the way that they use the different colors in the room too. Really, really accentuates and it makes the video super, super pleasing to look at as well. So this is a little bit closer in on the girls here, and you can actually see, like what I was saying, they built up some sort of rig where they have these like tube lights that go across here as well. And then I'm assuming it's supposed to look like maybe they're in some sort of a marketplace or something that was overgrown or something like that, some sort of area, because they have some signage up here as well. I don't know what that is or what it symbolizes, but it could just make it seem like it, because also you got the pillars and stuff in the background, so perhaps it's some sort of like a overgrown shopping center, or like maybe a temple or something along that line. Actually, it would make sense for a temple because they had a temple scene before. So we get the market scene. The market, the little shops with the donkey. Another one that's just really aesthetically pleasing. It's really interesting too, because it's a lot of props is really what a market scene is. It's a lot of props. It's a lot of things people don't typically think to sell, or not, excuse me, think to put into a market, but you'd have to think, what would people be selling and what would make sense to go with other things. So like on the left side here, you got the fabric strap draping over, you got some carpets and stuff. This kind of all makes sense. There's also a pair of shoes right here that you can see, and then possibly like a little bag or something right here. And then on the far side, you got like a musical instrument. You got another instrument over here on the wall. And then you have like more jars and like different sort of things that you would buy for around the house. You got some sacks going on down here in boxes, which would lead me to believe it's some sort of a food product or something. And then also with the donkey too, it makes sense kind of being down that way. But it's just it's relatively simple, but there's a lot to manage. And then on top of it, they got the draperies going on. They got plants in here as well, because it's some sort of like, it looks like it would be some sort of like Arabic marketplace is what they're kind of going for. And yeah, I think they nailed it on the head. Really, really awesome. I mean, it's a beautiful shot. I will say too, it's cool to see her in the hallway as well, just because it really kind of she stands out pretty well in the whole entire shot. But as at the same time, it's like almost fitting looking because like the baggy pants and stuff, it kind of gives you that kind of Arabian feel, I guess you would say. So I don't know. I think it all comes together really nice. I mean, the shot's a relatively quick one, but still, like, it's amazing how much work they're putting into shots that are flashing on and off the screen, on and off the screen really quickly. You know. I guess she's in here for quite a bit. You know, I will say this. I wonder if they actually went to a set that already had one of these because it looks like this is an entirely different different hallway at least from the last one where this time they put in the throne here. She's there, she's got the looks like a genie lamp right there. There's a lot of different things going on behind her. Like they definitely have the fruit stand and stuff, which is different from the last one. They got this cactus over here and the drapery is different. So I'd be kind of shocked if they actually went out and built a whole nother thing just for it to kind of flash on and off the camera, but still, it's definitely a vibe. This room is really a nice little cool room as well. And by little, I mean it's not, it's gigantic. It's a really big set here. And you actually, it's cool too because she's standing in like, I don't know, an inch of water, maybe less. It's not a lot, but it just adds enough to kind of bounce the lights off and make it look kind of cool. And then you can see how there's like the border here. That's actually just the edge of the pool. And then an interesting thing you might notice in a lot of different studios is that the walls will often kind of have a slope that goes up into the wall. And that's just mainly to help blend the colors so that there's no harsh corner in there. So like if they're using it as like a green screen or if they're using it as like a flat white behind them, it would just look flat white rather than looking like there's an edge there. So it can kind of make it look almost infinite on camera. But you can actually kind of see it here because the lighting's not really accentuating it enough. So you can kind of see where it has a little bit of slope. But yeah, I mean this whole shoot, this whole rig with all the umbrellas and stuff, it is very cool. It's not necessarily a hard thing to rig up, however, it's more annoying than anything. It's a lot more tedious, if you would, because for the most part, all these umbrellas are pretty much the exact same height. And yeah, some of them are a little like slightly off kilter or whatever, but that's just kind of the nature of the beast. They're not going to stay perfect unless you literally had a flat piece right above them that they would all be like screwed onto or something. But you can actually see in some of the other shots a little bit of an overhead from it, and they're definitely hanging on strings, on like a fishing wire, if you would. Just because they're not super heavy, so they wouldn't need much more than fishing wire. But still, like another really awesome shot. It's this whole music video is just bonkers, absolutely bonkers to me. Actually, sorry, I'm just noticing now that I kind of pause and play here. Look, you can actually see the umbrellas are also spinning. My guess would be is that they just had somebody go around and just kind of twist them a little bit so that they would spin, because they're going to naturally kind of spin on themselves after you do that. And then you can, I mean, they'll spin for like a minute or two, so you can get those shots in relatively quick. But still, pretty dope. Unless they're twisting from the top. I don't know. I don't know how they would do that. I would personally just have them tied up and then just give them a twist and then let them spin and then get the shot. Now, this is a interesting shot. To be honest with you guys, we're heading into fire rules that I don't understand all that well. Because they burnt the umbrellas that were up there. How did they do that? I'm not quite sure, to be honest with you. on this one. That one should be through a fire marshal or some sort of fire expert that would be on set. Obviously, they're not burning the ones that are directly above her. She's clearly in the water, but a nice safety feature is that they all are above water. So once they drop, they fall into the water and they extinguish. So that's a good thing. But unless those are like paper umbrellas, like they didn't look like they were paper though. I don't know how they burnt all those. I mean, they definitely have them a little bit more burnt from the back. There could be people up above with some sort of like flamethrower type rig setup. I mean, there are such things as flamethrowers, kind of shooting out flames onto them as well, because that's why like the middle is a little bit more burnt. But either way, this is an absolutely crazy shot. Pretty dangerous, to be honest. If they're melting plastic and stuff, that's also really not good for you to be breathing in that kind of smoke. But yeah, I mean, she's sitting on some driftwood here, as you can kind of see. Yeah, this one kind of stumps me. I'll say that. And then they gave her a red book, which it looks like it's completely painted red. Like even the pages are red. But yeah, this one's a dangerous shot. So I'm not 100% sure what they did here. But they definitely took the set that they were just on and they burnt it. But like I said, that's a very dangerous thing to be doing. So I hope they did it safe. Okay, I think I see what they did. It looks like they might have attached like a couple of sparklers, like red glowing sparklers, to like things that you get at like a fireworks stand, to like the insides of these umbrellas and then lit them. Because for the most part, some of the umbrellas have lit up a lot more than others, but you can kind of see really briefly sparks coming out from like all of these spots, like that right here, here. You can like see the sparks kind of coming out. I think that's what's burning or melting these umbrellas. But there's also a lot of smoke in the background too, so this would not be safe to breathe. That's all I'm saying. Now here we go. Here we go. Here we go. This is another one of the most beautiful shots in the whole entire dang thing. They got all this fake snow blowing around. They're shooting it out of probably off of these huge fans, I'd imagine. That's how you see little particles flying down on them while they're dancing. It's pretty cheap and easy. You can buy fake snow, and it'll kind of just do its thing. And then for the most part too, I think again what they did is it's more foam. They just kind of covered up these edges. Probably most likely they built some sort of like wood pieces that would go there, and then they spray them with the foam, just so they're not using that much foam. And then you just kind of dump some of that fake snow on top of it. You just blast it on there, and it just looks like a snowbank, you know? The floors, I will say, it looks like they might be like vinyl stickers, perhaps, because it doesn't look like Mylar. I mean, it's definitely got that shine to it, but it looks like it's like a graphic printed onto it, where like you could see like the ice crack lines and whatnot. So I'd imagine it's some sort of like a vinyl stick-on floor type of a deal that they put down there as well. But the biggest thing, the most interesting parts of this whole music video, or this whole shot, this set, is that they actually have these moving oil pump things, riggers or whatever, oil rigs that are going up and down the whole time. So I will say I'm very curious how they did it from behind the scenes, because they could put engines into this. That would cost a lot more money. Or if this was me personally, I would just set this up where whatever's on the other end here is going to be attached to a pole. We're going to hook it up there, and we're going to have somebody on the other end just pushing it up so that the front end goes down. And then once they get to a set spot, they pull it back down so it goes back up, and then you go push back up, and then you push it down, and then up and down and up and down, and you get them into a rhythm. And there's only 4 of them. Only 4 that you see. So realistically, I think that would be the better way to do it personally. But knowing how much money they throw down on these music videos, I would not be surprised if those are like genuine mechanical oil rigs, you know? Like I think that very well could be like some sort of an engine powered thing that they did there. Personally, I'd make this all out of wood. You paint it black, you spray it with a little bit of that fake snow to give it that white accents here and there, or even white spray paint would work too. It looks like snow. I mean, right here in particular, it looks like they blasted it kind of from afar with some spray paint. And yeah, and then the backdrop, I would imagine, is just exactly that. I don't think it's actually a green screen. I think it's just like a big printed image of a mountain range in the back there, because they're not actually outdoors, but still, that's how you do that without doing it through CGI. And I know that they like to do things practically, so I'd imagine that's what they did. But still, I was not expecting this. I was not expecting this to come up in the video at all. At all. This is another shot I was not quite ready for. It's, yet again, it's another relatively easy, simple kind of build thing that they did here. There's space in between each pillar and column combo that they have going on there, so that light can get through. That's how they kind of flash the lights, and they make it look really epic for the video. But yeah, it's basically just building 3 sides, you know? The back's most likely not finished. I also wouldn't be surprised if they use some sort of like a peg system here where they can just slide them into each other so that they could build them separately and then just like hoist it up and lower it onto the diagonal pillars there as well. And then same thing kind of going on the back there. A little bit of a bigger piece here for the walls and the ceilings, I mean. But still, really cool. And then you just paint it. You paint it blue, and then you kind of splash on some white there as well. And it makes for a really cool thing. Honestly, it looks like they might have even used a roller to do it. But essentially the way that you want to do it is you don't want to soak the roller. You just want to do it lightly. Or you can even just take a sponge and just dip it in some white paint or something. And make sure it's not soaking wet with the paint, but enough that you can kind of dab it on there. Or if you're using a roller, it's like barely got paint on it, and you just kind of roll it up and down a couple times. And it won't completely cover up the blue, but it adds that kind of accentuated look where in certain spots, in certain areas as well. But still, it makes it look really cool. I think, at least. It makes it look a little more worn, is what I should say. It makes it look a little more worn. But I mean, yeah, you see right there. They just flash the lights through it. It makes it look super epic. It's really a really cool thing they got going on here. Yeah, this kind of build right here, this is something that is quite outside of anything I've ever had to do. I've never had to build a dome-shaped building, but for the most part, like we've said in the past, is you just kind of build out the frame, and then you bend the plywood. You get some thinner plywood that's a little bit more bendy, and then you just bend it into place, and with a nail gun, just pop it into place. And then for the most part too, the cool thing is, now that I'm actually looking at this, they are inside of a globe, I think. If I am not incorrect, it looks like this would be North America. Then you got Asia and Europe and Africa. This might be India right there. And that's actually really cool. I didn't notice until I paused it right now. But for the most part, this is actually... First off, it's tough because they're replicating a map. So that already is going to be tough. So what I'd imagine they do is they probably draw on the shapes of where they want this fabric to be. It looks like it's more of like a shiny, like nylon or something along that lines, purple-ish tinted fabric. And then it's kind of easy to give it that kind of ripple look, is you just don't kind of fold it flat. You just let it crumple up, and then you just hit it with a couple staples to get it into the wall, and then it'll look like this. Kind of baggy looking, you know what I mean? But it looks really, really cool, and it kind of looks almost like foil or something on the walls. But then to top it off, you got these two big Trojan horses here, which I'm going to see if we can get a closer look at those. So in this shot, you can kind of see them a little bit better. You can't see the heads as well, but they actually built these two big Trojan horses, which are awesome. I mean, they're super tall. I mean, I'm imagining none of these girls are probably taller than like 5'4", 5'5", or something like that, you know? So like, I mean, that's like a 20-foot tall beast, at least when it gets up to the head. Maybe to the back it's probably 10 feet tall or something. So maybe it's like 15. I don't know. It's hard to judge. It's hard to guess. But these huge beasts, and yeah, this would be another thing that you would special order, specially create, that you'd have to pay somebody in order to build these and make them specially for you. So the fact that they got two is pretty big. I can't imagine those came cheap at all. But that's why Blackpink has some pretty amazing music videos. It's because they are willing to go above and beyond. Now that's got to be one of the cooler music videos we've seen in a minute. That is definitely, I mean, in fairness, we've seen a lot of really awesome music videos, but this video just had so many different sets all packed into one, and a lot of things were happening in each one. So, dude, I loved this. I thought this music video was absolutely incredible. Let me know if you saw something that I did not see, because for the most part, there's so many things going on that I would feel bad if I missed it. But yeah, hopefully you guys will understand, because like I said, that's a lot of stuff happening at once. But regardless, song's a bop. The music video is beautiful. These girls crushed it. Their live performance was also awesome as well. So I highly recommend Blackpink's How You Like That. All right, so how do you like that? Let me know down in the comments below. And then also go ahead and check out everything we got going on in the description there as well. We got all sorts of Instagram, TikTok, and Twitch, and Discord, and all that stuff going on. So go and check those out. Twitch and Discord are going to be the two where you're going to actually be able to come and hang out and chat with me as well if you'd like to do that. Or you could just come and be secret and quiet and lurk there if you would, you know, and you don't actually have to say anything. You just can kind of be there, and that's fine too. We love you. We love the lurkers. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching this. Stay aggressively positive and have a wonderful, wonderful night and a wonderful rest of your week. Bye.